How much did you just like miss hooping, like miss playing basketball?
I do, but I definitely needed that break, if I'm being honest, just to like kind of reset. So it's been, I definitely miss it, but much needed break.
It's gonna be there.
Yeah, it'll be there.
It's gonna be there waiting for you. Yeah, that's the best part. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We have a packed one for you. I know. Oh my God, we really do. We're gonna touch on this, unfortunately, still pending CBA. SheBelieves Cup came to a wrap in Harrison, New Jersey over the weekend, which I was there for and I loved. I love a little reunion moment. College basketball was wild. All of the conference tournaments happened over the weekend as we head into March Madness and the Final Four. So we're going to do that. And then we've got, unfortunately, she's not playing, but one of college basketball's hottest, JuJu Watkins, is joining us for the show. So I'm pumped to talk to her again. I mean, she's becoming a friend of the pod, if you will. I know. She came on the pod. You know what I realized? She came on the pod before the pod was a pod. Yeah. She's like a pre-pod guest. She's like first guest. Live show tester outer guest. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to talk to her again. We also have Robin Arzón. You guys know her, love her from Peloton. She's an instructor. She's also a life coach. She's coming on because she has a brand new podcast. It's called Project Swagger. It's also on, big shout out, the VOX Media Podcast Network. So we're super excited to talk to her. Before we get into that though, we talked about it last week. Unrivaled was due to have an epic final. They did. So we just want to quickly say congratulations to Brianna Stewart, Alicia Gray, Arike Gubawale, Veronica Burton, Alana Smith, Lee Uru. Hopefully I got that right. The Mist Basketball Club. Congratulations. They took home the Unrivaled Championship. Stewie was the MVP of the finals. Megan, you talked about her versatility. She showed all of that. 32 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 block shots, 2 steals, and the win. Arike also had 19. They each took home $100K. Obviously, I'm with USA Basketball right now. I'm in Puerto Rico. It's amazing here. Stewie was with us in Miami for a couple days. Dinner was on her every time. That's $100K richer right there. But the Phantom, listen, they beat the Phantom. They didn't go quietly. Kelsey Plum was unbelievable. I think she scored like 10 of their final 12 points to even give the Phantom a shot. They cut it to like 6 before that game winner happened. She finished with 40. But Megan, the ending was wild. It was Stewie. She went up for the layup. They ended up calling a block, so she got a free throw. And we all know how Unrivaled ends. It ends on a make. So that make was a free throw. What do you think? People have opinions. I don't know. I don't love it. I'm not going to lie. I don't love it. But it's like basketball's basketball. There's free throws in it. Like, you guys, it's unscripted. It's not a scripted series. It's not a TV show on Netflix. It's real life. And this is how the game works. This is why we love it. This is why the same reason that you love a full court buzzer beater game winner, the unpredictability. You can't then not love it ending on a free throw. It's the same. The game is the game is the game is both sides. The game's the game's the game. You got to accept both sides. Yeah, if you want one, I mean, sometimes you're getting the other. Yeah. Do I like one more than the other? This is life. For sure. But no, like this is, you guys, this is IRL. So let it IRL. IRL. Speaking of IRL, not at all, but it's showtime, Sue. I'm Megan Rapinoe. And I'm super, this is a touch more. Let's get into it.
Support for this show comes from LinkedIn Ads. LinkedIn now connects more than 1 billion professionals, including 130 million decision makers. And with targeting options like job title, industry, company, role, seniority, skills, and company revenue, you can focus your spend on an audience that actually matters. That's why LinkedIn Ads delivers the highest B2B return on ad spend across all major ad networks. Spend $250 on your first campaign on LinkedIn Ads and get a $250 credit for the next one. Just go to linkedin.com/more. That's linkedin.com/more. Terms and conditions apply.
The check-in. Topic 1, take it away.
You're not even allowed to say CBA. So the topic 1 is the state of the CBA. You're out. Camera 1.
The world
Focus
knows
on
I have
Megan.
so many thoughts and opinions. It's just tough.
I
Tough
know.
over here.
I know. And like, you can't even give them to me because then I'm going to say them. So like, I'm just over
I
here
know,
like, you
I
want
know.
my opinion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for everyone listening, it's been major church and state over here. I know she's you're slippery. Listen, you'll slip. You'll slip.
Not slippery.
We do
I
it
just
for
would
the
like-
pod though. We do
you
it for the
know, like-
pod. We got to let you have an opinion for the pod.
Ideas
So we
get
keep
in
this
there and
church
then
and
all of a
state.
sudden they're my ideas, you know?
What's actually
Um,
happened naturally though is we've been, obviously for those that can't tell, we've been traveling a lot. So we haven't done the podcast in the same room. So because we've been traveling a lot, I haven't been able to give you the like normal updates. You actually are in the dark a little bit right now.
I know. You guys, I'm you. I'm every listener. I'm every fan just pulling up from the dark to a big old podcast being like, hey, listen to what I think. I'm like a bro from the manosphere being like, listen to my opinion and I can like tell you everything you need to know. Absolutely zero research done. And okay, we'll get to it. We are recording on the 10th, which is also the league's deadline for the CBA negotiations to avoid delaying the start of the season. That would mean it would cut into camp and whatever. As the saying doesn't go, no news is actually bad news. Because we don't have a deal yet. Everyone saw last week, ESPN reported that Kelsey Plum and Breon Stewart wrote a private letter to WNBPA Executive Director Terry Jackson, questioning the union's negotiation tactics, accusing it of a lack of adequate player involvement in the process. That letter got leaked to the media. Man, that's tough. If I'm Stewie and Plum, I'm like, that's hard. Sort of regardless of like the content of what they were saying or how everyone feels about it, it's just like, that was private. I hate that. There's some sort of lack of trust going on there. It's already been, like, in my opinion, just sort of watching this and knowing what it was like to go through lots of different, private negotiations and CBAs that happen in the public to a certain extent. And that's always part of it. Let's like not be, hyperbolic about it. Be like nobody's ever going to leak anything. Like that's fine. But this has been very public on both sides. Everybody's like leaking. It feels like all the information is out there and nobody knows anything. So that's like not a good thing. We'll need like a real autopsy and retrospective on this for sure. But my worry is that it's like it's mirroring society in a way of like, what even is privacy and trust anymore? Like if everyone is always worried that they can't have an honest conversation, raise concerns, speak candidly, make mistakes, say things like that they're thinking or feeling in whatever way, that sort of like leaves us all not talking to each other. Honestly, that's kind of what I thought with that. Just like as a player, I think I feel for Stu and Plum, that's just like, dang, they're trying to do their best, I don't believe that Stewie and Plum are trying to sabotage the players in the WNBA and the league and the PA. So then it's like there's just more truth there to what they're saying. And I know there's a lot going on, but I think that's kind of one of the things that that it sort of made me think and feel. And then obviously, people are going to comment on that. And we live in a social media, clippable, likes, clicks, heavy, lack of nuance. Like, let me just get this hot take out there world that like just doesn't allow for the whole of the truth and the whole of what's going on to be understood and like digested and then like commented on. So there was a lot of voicing of frustrations, which, I understand, but also it's just tough. Caitlin commented on it. Stewie, basically had the same sentiment of like, let's get in this room for how many hours? Someone order the bagels and the orange juice and keep everybody
Lock
fed.
them in.
Lock them in.
Lock 'em in.
Them in. Like, let's get this done. They both expressed that. Like, I think everybody just like, get your money, of course. Like, I of course, I think that. Get everything you can and then just like get a little bit more just because. But let's like get in that room and
get this done and really iron it out. Like, what do you want? What do they want? Where are we at? So both those players expressed that. But yeah, I mean, it looks like they're going to do that and going to give it a shot. It's been reported that the league and the union are meeting later today, which again is Tuesday the 10th. If there's breaking news, we will uninterrupt the pod. We never get this lucky. It always happens the second we're done or on Wednesday. But either way, we're going to throw something in here if there is something. So that's kind of the long, short, and the left and right of that update. So
Yeah. Well done.
that's all I got,
right.
people. That's all I got.
Hey, everybody. Recording this Thursday morning. We said we would come back if there was something, so we're back. But there's no deal, obviously. Otherwise, you would have already seen that. But there is movement being made after 2 days of what feels like marathon in-person meetings, which is always the best. Like, if this is like a movie that you're watching, this is just like the height of the drama when everybody's like in the room and living off like coffee and bagels. And this is like sort of the most stressful, but kind of like most fun too, because you can like feel that it's getting close. Anyways, enough about my own personal experience. But the media is reporting that the league's latest proposal is offering a salary cap of $6.2 million. Average player compensation would reach $570,000 in year one, up to $850,000 in year six, while the max compensation number would start around 1.3 in year one and go up to nearly $2 million in year six. What that sort of made me think right off the top was like that they've been saying that there's no more money, and now all of a sudden there's more money, and it's just reminded me of our equal pay fight. Obviously, very different structures of a negotiation, but it's reminding me, it's like, oh, you're going to bankrupt the federation and there's going to be no money and they can't afford it and they can't afford it. And then like, they're like, okay, I guess we can't afford it. Or there's at least room to play in a space where they said that there wasn't room. So if I'm a player, I'm like, oh, so the money's moving now. So I would turn that screw as hard as possible and see where that can go. I mean, this is the business end of negotiations, and that's how it works. What are you willing to give? What are we willing to hold out for? Obviously, everyone, I believe, has an eye on the future and the health of the business and the future of women's basketball and the WNBA. Everybody's taking that into consideration. So we'll just see what comes out of this. They're still in meetings. It seems like the momentum is there, and everybody is bellied up to the proverbial table and the literal table and getting this done. Hours locked in the same room with each other, I think, is good. Like, when you just do it over email, or you just do it over phone, or you just do it over Zoom, or you have like that lack of personal connection, you just kind of miss something. That's why it's always the best. Like right at the end, you're like looking at this person being like, are you going to give it? And they're like, are you going to take it? And it's, where do you come to the middle? So we'll see if they can get to a place financially where the players are willing to show up and play and feel valued, and we can get back on this roller coaster, which seems to be shooting right up to the stars. So hopefully by next week, we'll actually have a deal done, and we'll have all the takes, of course, on that. It will, no matter what, be an historic deal. One of the greatest deals, I think, in women's sports history. But I think just in generally all of sports history, this would be one of the landmark deals that we'll talk about for a long time. So hopefully we get to that next week. Back to the show, guys.
I mean, there might have just been breaking news, but now we're going to head to topic 2. SheBelieves Cup. Megan, you were there. Saturday was the closing game of the Cup. USA defeated Colombia to sweep the Cup. Alyssa Thompson scored the game winner. You were there. What were your thoughts? What are your thoughts in general of the USA team? Let's hear it.
I mean, great atmosphere, first of all. I think that it's a little bit slow rolling, that stadium. It was at Sports Illustrated Stadium, formerly Red Bull, which is out in Harrison, New Jersey. It's just like a little bit tough
to get through. But I think the culture around it is building. We spent time with Carolyn Tisch when we were at the Sloan Conference, Carolyn Tisch Blodgett in Boston, and just talking with her about it and what they're doing to get into the community and to like make their players more present. Like I feel like having that conversation with her on a Friday, I think it was, or Thursday or Friday, and then seeing, I was like, oh, this is great. And obviously the national team pulls really well, but just a little shout out to Gotham for what they're building there. I think it's really cool, and obviously they have a great team. Great atmosphere. The third game of She Believes, obviously with the title on the line, and even though it's a make 'em up, like I just think it's important for the development of everyone to like, there's something on the line here. Like you can go get it, and it's a final, or you can, win the tournament. Just to get that experience. And then Canada came in second after tying Argentina. But the thing that stuck out to me, the Alyssa Jaden combo is like really interesting in the context of the triple espresso and Kat, because if the triple espresso are starting and you have Kat and Jaden and Alyssa coming off the bench, or honestly, it's just like, it doesn't even matter. They're all, whoever is in form, like they are. Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah. What's the question?
Has a soccer coach or team ever used the strategy of having depth and only playing players like 45 minutes each to keep them fresh? Because you're generally going against players that are playing 90. Has that ever been like a part of a strategy on like a big stage?
It's not as simple as that, because there's something to the continuity of the game over. I think the 60-70 minute mark is the sub time.
Sweet spot? Okay.
Is the sweet spot. There's also something to your best player going against the other team when the other team's tired. So like if your best players are fit and whatever. No. Like if you start the game, like I was always just I was a player that got subbed out a lot, like around 70. And we had a really deep bench. And it was always like, I'm either showing that like I'm increasing in the game and I can like continue that, or it's just like, you just got me for 70 minutes and now you're getting like Kristen Press fresh for the last 20 or 30. Like, good luck. I think it's more that. It's more like 7,
so it wouldn't
60,
be
70.
beneficial to splitsies.
Halftime is a little tough. Coming in at halftime is like a little weird. I actually always preferred coming off the bench like in the 60-70 minute mark, because then it's just like the game is totally settled in. You know exactly where the weak points are. You can like understand this sort of, I guess just like the strategy moving forward and where to really like turn the screw. But also just like having killers come off your bench who are sitting on the bench the whole time being like, I should be starting. That's what I want every one of those players sitting on the bench to be like, I know they're starting and like, you're going to get all my energy and effort. And also, I'd be balling if I was starting too. So they bring that energy and then there's a chip on their shoulder. And it's always just like, when you score a goal as a sub, you always want to look at the coach and just be like, that's me.
But, okay, so that's what you're saying.
Good
with
problem
Alyssa
to have.
And Jaden.
Yeah. So like either they're going to, rise and be the best players. And then we have, Trin and Soph and Mal coming off the bench, or Kat, or some combination of that. Or like, dang, those two coming off the bench, like, wow, that's a deep front, 6, 7, that all have different things and are all really valuable and are all, becoming really productive as well. So I loved seeing that. Naomi and Sonnet, is that all I need to say? They're world class. Like they do so much to make sure that nothing happens, that like sometimes they're just like, are you even doing that much? And they're like, no, I just took a step to the right and shut down the whole play. And then it never even got here. So like, you don't even know I did that. Both of them just world class, calm, great leadership, competitive. Like they have full bags. And then I think the last thing like is just like the kids are all right. They're just like more than all right. They have more than enough personality. And I feel and like kind of see that they're like more and more stepping into that space that frankly was left like a huge vacuum of personality, leadership, talent, identity happened when all of everybody in my generation retired. Like, change takes time, and space has to be created and allowed to breathe before it can like be reclaimed again. And now this team belongs to this team.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's these, their legacy will be whatever it will be. And I feel like I was having that thought because, we were at the game, and I feel like Saturday at the game more than any other time that I've felt like the history and like the lineage of the team all in one place. Like, we were there celebrating, at least I was there. I didn't even know the 99ers were going to be there. So that was like such a lovely surprise. Like, I was there celebrating one of the best players of my generation, Tobin, who was carrying around a ball signed by one of the best players of her generation, Brandy Chastain, while we all sat down and watched the next generation win the SheBelieves tournament. So I was just like, come on, like this is amazing. And the rise of women's sports has allowed that. The the PA and the federation, like making a point to bring everyone all the time and always take care of us, has allowed that. And now it's like the whole team is like one thing. And then like, yes, this version of this team gets to, be great and hopefully put that fifth star up there. So yeah, it was a lovely time. Everybody asked about you. Where's Sue? Where's Sue? I mean, in
She's
New
in
York.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I was like, she was Bad Bunny. Yeah, everybody, the Gotham fans, they love their owner. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Can't blame them.
Yeah, and that was part of the reason why. Yeah, that was part of the reason why I missed some of these college basketball games that we're moving on to, and it was a little bit like
You were
banana
busy.
pants over the weekend. The tournaments all happened.
Yeah.
Give us your thoughts on everything you saw, and then it's probably going to be like most of the stuff that we didn't even see.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, like, being with USA Basketball, I'm in this like team environment again, and it's so weird being back in it. I actually like
Yeah?
low-key love, I still love the meal room. That's always gonna be
Oh,
like
it's the best.
special place in my heart. But otherwise it's kind of weird. But one of the nice little like, I would say positives is everybody's talking about basketball. Everybody's talking about the conference tournaments. Everybody's talking about the
Yeah.
NCAA tournament. Obviously, Kara Lawson, who's the head coach of the national team, was with her team finishing up the ACC tournament while we were all gathering. So it's been really fun to have all the conversations. Everybody's representing their school. There's been some like friendly wagers. There's been some shit talk. So it's been really cool. But listen, we called it last week. The SEC, it's always just a little bananas. There's always just something going on in that conference tournament. This one was not different.
Facts.
They basically had 4 teams that I would say South Carolina, Texas. South Carolina was a lock for the number 1 seed, still are. Texas was
Okay.
kind of like, Texas was like not quite a lock. Things would have to happen for them to have moved down. Vanderbilt would have to
Okay.
lose, which they did. But also Texas was going to have a bad tournament, which they didn't. So Texas went out, they beat South Carolina. They broke South Carolina's like 3-year in a row record or 3-year in a row streak to be SEC tournament champs. And honestly, Texas played so well. I think it brought up the question. They jumped out like super early. I think they were up like, I don't even remember, 14-15-0. So they got out to a great start. And people are like, oh, did they figure out, like, did they find,
Crack the
South
code.
Carolina's kryptonite? Yeah. I don't think that's quite the case. I think Texas played really well. They got like contribution from so many people. And I think South Carolina, who had played Kentucky and then LSU, which has like a lot of emotion in that game, I think they were just like a little fatigued. And what they're reminding us of right now, what South Carolina is reminding us of is like the last time they lost in the finals of the SEC tournament, they went on to be national champs. So I'm sure they're going to be using that, but definitely got to congratulate Texas. That is a huge win for them. Locks up that first seed, has all kinds of implications. They will probably, according to Charlie Crane, bracketologist, they'll probably end up in Fort Worth. Because a lot of times the seedings, honestly, it hurts my brain. There's so much that goes into it. It's like a whole math problem. And we all know how I feel about math. I'm so bad at it. But something you always have to keep your eye on with these seeds is the location of the regional. So this year, Fort Worth is hosting 2 of the regionals. Sacramento is hosting 2 of the regionals. So for Texas, they'll probably end up in Fort Worth. Great news for them.
Yeah.
For South Carolina, they might have to go out to Sacramento. Not amazing.
Damn near my hometown.
Again, yeah, you love the Kings, don't you? Or is it the Warriors?
Damn near my hometown. Who's ever's doing better?
I can never really remember which one you're a fan of.
Whoever's doing better.
Yeah, we know. So all kinds of implications. I mentioned that Vanderbilt lost. That's a bummer. They lost in the quarters in a little bit of an upset. Ole Miss though is tough, man. Ole Miss on a one-off, the way they play. Cody McMahon's playing really well. Their defense is always on point. They're really tough in a one-off. All right, moving on to some other conferences. TCU ended up losing in the final of the Big 12 tournament to West Virginia. So that may have bopped them down to a 3 seed. And I already brought up Kara and Duke. They beat Louisville in the ACC final. That one, we were actually on the plane. We chartered down here. So we were on the plane getting ready to take off. But we weren't delayed. It was just that 20, 30 minutes where we're not quite going yet. Everybody was on their phone watching. The whole plane was erupting. Obviously, Chelsea Gray is a Duke alum. So that's one of those moments that I'm pretty sure USA Basketball captured it. It was really cool because it came down to, it went into overtime. There were some moments in that game. But that probably puts Duke.
I was going to say, Duke has some haters generally because it's Duke. But I feel like they were having a couple haters at the beginning of the year. I haven't heard a lot from anybody about that.
We don't worry about those things. But I will say, Camille Little, one of my favorite teammates of all time, a UNC grad, she still calls them Puke. She does not call them Duke. She'll be like, "Oh, you're at Puke for a camp?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm at Puke for
That's
a
who
camp."
I want to hear from. Camille?
Yeah.
Where are you at,
Call
Camille?
in. We need 3 guesses. Call in.
1-833 a touch more.
Yeah, that's funny. So Duke, because TCU lost, because Duke won, they might get themselves a 2 seed. We will see it all unfold this Sunday. We'll get to that in a second. There is another question mark that Charlie Cream has put into the universe, which is, who's going to be the number one? UConn, undefeated, been number 1 all year. But when you do all that math that they do, you could actually make a case for UCLA to be the number one. Yeah, and what I think is going to happen is UConn will be in Fort Worth and UCLA naturally will stay in Sacramento. So I think it'll just kind of all take care of itself anyways. But that was interesting, right?
How are you the best? How are you the best team and you're not the best team?
Girl, I don't know. Ask the committee.
How you got the best player on the best team and you're not the best
Ask the committee. The only thing more elusive than these CBA negotiations is how that committee works. Nobody knows. So we'll see what happens. Charlie has also called this the, quote, stickiest bubble in years. There's just so many teams that we just don't know what's going to happen. So again, don't forget to check that out this Sunday, Selection Sunday. One team that we know will be glued to their couch, glued to that TV is, dare I say, the other USC. I know some Southern Cal people are not going to be happy I said that, but the USC Trojans will be watching. They got knocked out in the second round of the Big Ten tournament. Not quite an upset. They lost to UW, actually. Not quite an upset, but Jazzy Davidson, who's their star freshman, she got hurt. So it's how does this impact? I think they'll still get in, but they may have gone from an 8-9 seed to an 11. I'm not quite sure.
Dang.
So their seed is a major TBD. But of course, the main storyline of this season for that team has been that they've had to play without their All-American JuJu Watkins. But luckily, like you said earlier, we've got her on today. So let's get to it. In her first 2 years at USC, JuJu Watkins has already made a huge impact, winning a slew of awards, including being the first player to be named the Ann Myers Drysdale Shooting Guard of the Year in back-to-back years. She's currently sitting out her junior year due to an ACL tear, but she's not just resting on the sidelines. We are so excited to talk to her about what she's been up to. Please welcome to the show, JuJu Watkins. Support for this show comes from LinkedIn Ads. Sometimes even the strongest B2B marketing ends up in front of the wrong audience. If someone's getting ads for enterprise accounting software when they have zero accounting experience, that's a clear sign your strategy needs a reset. So when you're ready to reach the right professionals, you should check out LinkedIn Ads. LinkedIn now connects more than 1 billion professionals, including 130 million decision makers. And that's what sets it apart from other ad channels. With targeting options like job title, industry, company, role, seniority, skills, and company revenue, you can focus your spend on the audience that actually matters. That's why LinkedIn Ads delivers the strongest B2B return on ad spend across all major ad networks. Yes, that's right, all of them. So if driving B2B growth is the goal, LinkedIn Ads is one of the most effective ways to get your message in front of the people who can actually say yes. Spend $250 on your first campaign on LinkedIn Ads and get a $250 credit for the next one. Just go to linkedin.com/more. That's linkedin.com/more. Terms and conditions apply. JuJu, welcome back to the show. You're
What's
now
up,
officially
guys?
a friend of the pod. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
Of
welcome
course.
back.
So first, JuJu, I want to say congratulations. Your shoe with LeBron just dropped. First college athlete to co-create something with LeBron, the Next Gen by JuJu. You've said you were working on this shoe for like over a year. It looks incredible. Can you
Thank
take
you.
us through, can you take us through like, because I know Nike gets in there on the creative part and they really try to like tap into who you are. So can you
Yeah.
take us through that process and like what you were going for with it?
Yeah. I mean, when I first was kind of brought with that, like when they brought the idea to me, I was just super excited and not really sure of what the process looked like. But yeah, like you said, like it was a long process. And then just not really knowing what things would look like. That was kind of the scary part. And then just random questions. Like they asked me about my life, and then I was just like, how does that kind of translate to like a shoe?
Yeah.
But it ended up really working out, and I'm super happy with the final product. So yeah.
Yeah. I remember I did like a PE on one of the Kyries, and it was the same thing. They're like asking you your likes, your dislikes, things about yourself. And for me, it was like, how do you play the game? And I was like, oh, I guess I play the game like more with I'm more like cerebral, like I'm thinking things, I'm plotting and planning. And so they ended up putting like a brain map, one of those like colorful brain maps, like into the like colorway of the shoe. So can you give
Wow,
me, yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah,
Can
it
you
was
give me
really
like,
cool.
that's dope.
yeah, they did a good job. Shout out. Can you give me some of the details and how they connect back to you?
Yeah. Well, there's just like little designs in the shoe. I love like hand drawn things. So there's like a little flower in there. There's like my signature, I think like a bee or something. So there's inside the shoe, there's just like little knickknacks in there that I thought were cute. And then other than that, it's silver. Like it's not too much, but not like too minimal. So yeah.
Kind of fits your vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. The shoe also sort of like narratively, because Nike, they're gonna like get in on the color, get in on the knickknacks, get in on the
Mhm.
Easter eggs, and then they're gonna have like a big narrative story around that. And yours has a lot to do with your roots. You're from Watts, LA, California. Um, that's kind of like the subtitle of the whole presentation is Watts Made. And I'm curious like why that's important to you that is front and center, but also for people not from that area or California, like what does that mean to you to be from Watts? And like what does that mean to be from Watts?
Yeah, I think like just in general, like LA is just a big part of my story. Of course, like going to SC here, but also being like a native here and getting to really like rep my community. LA as a whole, but also like narrowing it down to where I'm actually from and where I've spent majority of my life. So it was really a cool opportunity for me to just pay homage to the community that made me this person into who I am today. And yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's fun when you get to sort of nail down like what you care about and like I mean, Sue was saying, I remember that too, like going through your PE process, and it was kind of like you can do anything, which is sort of overwhelming, but it's like what actually
Yeah,
means something to you, and like
for
Sue,
sure.
the way you play the game and the way you think about it, and JuJu, obviously like where you're from, that's a big part of your story is that you stayed at home. I guess traditionally, the best women's basketball players don't normally stay in LA if they're from LA, but you chose to stay there, obviously, and to go to USC. So that's a cool kind of tie-in. I mean,
Thank you.
I was gonna say like unfortunately, but I actually don't feel that way as someone who has multiple ACL tears. So you have one too, a big unfortunate but fortunate part of your story in the long run. You tore your ACL obviously last year. Welcome to the club. It's a good club. There's lots of Olympians and champions and world best.
Huge success rate in this club.
No,
for sure.
Yeah, like it's almost like if you don't have one, like you're not really a top
You're not like
tier.
you're not
You
like
ain't one of
elite.
them. You ain't one of them ones. You obviously did it last year. Tore everybody's heart out of our chest. We were so sad. You already said that you were going to sit out this year just to get healthy. How in the moment did you process that? Maybe give me like a in the moment and then like, okay, you're after surgery, you're getting into your rehab, and then sort of like how have you adjusted being in a totally different role on the team? You obviously can't be on the court, but you're a huge part of the team and really the face of the team still. So how's that process been for you?
Yeah, honestly, I think like you said, it's like good and bad. I think like when it first happened, like denial for sure. I feel like I'm constantly like adjusting because it's such a long process. So yeah, at first it was just it was tough. And then kind of accepting this is where I am, like this is where my feet are, and trying to find different ways to continue to grow and then pour into like my teammates, my family, and get to spend more time with the people that I love. So it's been a crazy process. Still going through it, but I think more good than bad, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like you always have a little bit of why me.
Yeah.
I think for all three of us, actually, it happened early in our careers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all really young. And when you get older and these things kind of happen, you develop a little bit of scar tissue on like how to handle it. But when you're young, there can definitely be a why me. There's some shock. And then I swear 5 years from now, you're gonna be like, that was the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah,
Maybe even needed it to happen.
for
For
sure.
me, so I tore mine like 8 or 9 games into my freshman year, which meant I was sitting on the bench for the rest of the season. And at first, I hated it. It was so hard having to go to the games knowing I couldn't be involved. But then I slowly started to realize like this was going to be an education. And, usually the injured players sit at the end just because you don't want to be in the way. I like begged the coaches. I was like, let me sit up by you. Like, let me try to like learn some stuff. So I'm curious now that you're, quote unquote sidelined, what have you learned from that vantage point, like watching the game as opposed to playing it?
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely the game has slowed down for me, like watching it in real time and like kind of putting myself in situations like, okay, like if I had the ball there, like what would I do? Or like what could we call here? So just like trying to challenge myself in that way because I'm so used to just being out there and figuring it out on the fly. So having to like be on the other end of that and I guess try to like insert myself in those situations has definitely helped. And then also like talking to my play or to my teammates like Jazzy, like helping her figure out stuff from my lens and my perspective, and then keeping that communication with my coaches on what they see, and yeah, just trying to just like continue to grow as a player in
Yeah,
those
I feel
situations.
like talking to your teammates and pointing things out to them, that's actually one of the best ways to learn, right? Like you
Yeah.
saw something and now you say it out loud. It actually like resonates in a different way. We saw each other, all three of us actually, Nike Think Tank. We took an amazing
Mhm.
trip to Japan. And something we talked about was just, it was going to be a long year
Yes.
and you might get a little bored.
Yes, for
And
sure.
so I'm curious how that's going for you.
It's definitely it can get boring sometimes, especially, like, during the games, when everybody's warming up and I'm just sitting there, but thankfully, I have my teammate, Taya. She came with us, she's been with us for the last couple months, so she's definitely helped that boredom,
Okay.
But honestly, like, it's been fun. I can't lie. It's been fun just to like not have that pressure on me right now and like be totally okay with where I am and being able to just, I guess, just be there and give my 2 cents when it's needed and just um help the team in any way I can. So
Yeah, and real quick, just so people understand, like the boring part is when you're injured, there's just so much downtime.
yes.
There's so
Oh
much
my God.
downtime. It's like physical
Ugh.
downtime where you're literally, like you just said, the team's warming up and you're just there. And there's also like a mental downtime because you're not going to bed at night thinking about the game the next day, right? You're
Yes.
not after a game thinking about, oh, I wish I would have done this or done that. It's just all of that's gone. And so it can just get really, yeah, it can get really boring.
For
So I just
sure.
wanted to like point that out.
I've never been in my thoughts so much. Just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I definitely miss it in that aspect.
You need like incentive to be like locked in. And when I'm sure you're like locked in your rehab and doing that part because you're incentivized to do that. And then you get in the gym for the game and you're like, well, I'm obviously not playing. So I'm just gonna you're not gonna be like locked into every detail of the game. And then it's like the monotony of all you're doing is showing up and sitting on the bench and watching the game.
Yeah.
So you're just
Or
like,
like
yeah,
doing quad sets or I don't
yeah,
even
you're like,
know.
yeah, yeah, I
Those
am
early
bored.
rehab days. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
bored
Range of
by
motion.
not playing. Yeah, exactly. I remember when I first tore my ACL, I was a cocky little shit. I had a great freshman year. I was going into my sophomore year. I think I was like 8 games into my sophomore year. My head was it's freaking as big as California, and I tore my ACL, and I spent my entire first year being a cocky little shit and being like, I'm gonna come back really fast and blah blah blah. And then I got blessed with a double dose of that lesson because I retore it because I didn't do my rehab very well. And then the whole second year, like as soon as I retore it, I was like, got it. You know what? I get it. Like I'm not in charge here. I need to be patient. You said, recently in one of your IG videos, like I never realized how impatient I was until this
Yeah.
injury. Um, we also saw you shooting threes, looking great. You're doing great. Everything. I'm like, you're probably getting just like locked down from three, but I want to know how you stay locked into just your physical process when like at one point you couldn't shoot threes and now you can, or you can run or you can't. Like how are you taking the kind of day by day physical process of rehab and just staying present in that moment?
Yeah, like honestly, it's been this is like the most challenging thing I've been through so far. And like it's like I've learned a lot about myself. And so every day I'm just like I don't know, I'm just trying to get better. Like it's basically the same thing with basketball.
Mm.
I've just applied it to like weight training and rehab. So I've definitely put all of my energy into that. So it's really just been like a transfer of energy into one thing. And then now I'm finally able to like
Mm.
play basketball again and shoot threes. I mean, I've been under the basket. I was under the basket for so long. So to finally be able to like shoot a three, I'm like, thank God. So it's definitely been such a long process and I'm like so kind of excited. I'm trying to pull myself back a little bit, just like to stay a little more patient because it's kind of starting to finally get to the end of everything. So yeah, just taking it day by day. But I've been in a good place with
Yeah.
it. So
That's amazing. I want to go back to something you said just about your relationship with
mhm.
Jazzy Davidson. You've kind of become you're taking on like a little bit of a mentor role. Did that happen naturally, organically, or were you like, okay, like here's this player, McDonald's All-American coming in here, like let me help her out.
It was definitely natural. Because Jazz is just she's such a great person. I mean, we're we've gotten so close like over the past, I don't know, since season started. So yeah, she's just been great. And like she's always like asking questions, like trying to get better. Um, so she's been really easy to like help throughout the process. And she doesn't need that much help. She's been killing it. But when she does, I'm here whenever she needs me. So it's been cool to step into more of that leadership role on the team.
Yeah, I mean, you two next year. Woof.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Tough.
That's gonna be that's gonna be tough.
Tough for everyone outside of LA. Tough. One camp that you were in but not playing in, I know you have aspirations to be in. You were at USA Basketball's training camp with our very own managing director here in December. What was it like for you being in that environment around that group? Obviously, you're not, playing yet, but once you're back healthy, I think this isn't breaking news that the managing director is going to have you on the rosters at least to get into some camps. Heard it here first. But what was it like to be around that group?
It was so cool. I mean, like, it's definitely one of the best experiences I've gotten, like, thus far in my career. And to do it while I've been sitting out and, like, been in the same kind of process of, like, rehab, sitting down at practice, like, I don't know, I just been kind of doing the same thing. So to get, like, a breath of fresh air and be able to see, like, such great talent and be around so many people that kind of raise the bar for everybody. So to be there in that, like, intimidating place and be around so many great players is definitely, like, giving me a lot of motivation to continue to type rehab and everything.
You're in the young and turnt group, though. You're in the young and turnt. So young and turnt. You're firmly in that group. So that's felt like a good vibe there.
Yes, for sure. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm curious. I actually didn't get to ask you this before you took off during camp. What was something that, just like an observation, something that jumped out? Like, it could be anything, just something you noticed about like USA Basketball at that level, all these players coming together.
Honestly, just, like, the attention to detail and the intensity. Like, I've been around, like, I guess, like, junior USA, U18s, been around, like, a lot of the top talent, like, around me, like, my peers and stuff. So to be, like, with, I guess, like, some of the best in the world, I mean, I haven't really gotten that experience yet. So to just see them go to work and talk, like, a lot of leadership in that building. So yeah, I learned a lot in that day that I was there.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, you are still young and turnt. And speaking of being young, your high school jersey at Sierra Canyon, which is a very well-known high school, a lot of NBA players. Kennedy Burke, who plays for the Liberty, she also went to Sierra Canyon. But you're the first to have their jersey retired. You described it as, like, one of the best nights of your life. So just take us through that. I don't think you had been back to campus since you graduated. No. So yeah. So what does it mean to have your number up there?
No, it's so insane. I actually haven't seen it up there yet. I think they're getting, like, the banner or whatever made. So I'm excited to go back and see that. But I think Sierra Canyon was just such a big part of my journey, and to be, like, honored in that way and have, the staff and coaches, I don't know, just believe in me and I guess my process. It was just a really cool opportunity. I'm so grateful that they kind of allowed me to have that honor. So
a little bit of off the court history too. You're the first college athlete to directly invest into a women's professional sports team. You're invested in the NWSL team in Boston. Did you play soccer growing up? Were you a soccer player?
No, I always envied people who played soccer though, because I never was really good with my feet. I'll be honest.
Yeah, you kind of tall for soccer. Honestly, as soon as you get, like, to a certain height, it's kind of like you can't really play soccer. There's, like, one super tall soccer player, and that's
what's his name? Harry? No, don't tell
Peter
me.
Crouch.
Peter Crouch.
Oh, Peter Crouch. Yeah.
It's okay. He's
There's like,
you have to see Peter Crouch on the field. He's 6'5".
He's 6'7", and he weighs like 140 pounds. Like, he's like this
Mr.
big,
Slender,
and huge. It was he was actually, like, really good. He was a total anomaly. It was wild. But yeah, once you all get too tall, it's like it's too much. But why was that the right move for you? Why that team specifically? Like, what does it mean to you to be able to do that at such a young age?
Yeah, I think I was, like, presented with the offer. And And then it was just like a no-brainer. So it was just a really cool opportunity and like one of the coolest things I've done so far. And yeah, so I'm excited to like have an NWSL team to root for. And yeah, go to the games. Like that'll be exciting. And like our colors are fire.
Oh, it's gonna be so
I'm,
fun.
I'm excited to wear some
Fire.
gear too.
I was gonna say it's good. The black and green is really good.
And
It's actually really good.
Is it time to put some? Are we putting some wagers out there? We've got. I'm representing Gotham. Megan
Okay.
is Seattle Reign till she dies.
All right.
JuJu Boston. What are we doing? What are
we'll
we doing?
see.
I don't know, guys. 2 out of the last 3 years. I'm just saying. We've been the
I
champs
know.
2 out of the last 3 years.
I know. You've had a really
Much
good
to
run.
Megan's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Once against me. That was tough.
Yeah, that one I wasn't. That wasn't. I was like only like half happy.
Okay, good.
Not
that
even.
feels right.
If
Half?
I'm being honest. Well, yeah, you
Half?
just turned your Achilles. I wasn't happy at all.
Yeah.
But then when we went out, that night, when we went out that night, we met up with Gotham. I was happy again. And you were too.
I was
Megan
like,
was
listen,
in
guys,
the club with a boot on, hopping.
whatever. I'm like,
and then her
I'm getting
security
this.
guard had to piggyback her around.
That's lit.
Literally. Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully one of our teams win and we can do that again. All right, JuJu. So you talked a little bit about like things you've learned about the game of basketball. You also kind of referenced wanting to apply that to maybe like you're in the weight room and the way you're attacking that, your rehab, the way you're attacking that. But I also think when you're out for this long, you start to learn stuff about like yourself having nothing to do with the game. And so I'm curious, what have you learned about yourself? Usually when there's more space to do other things, you kind of figure some stuff out. So is there anything that having more time to yourself has shown you?
Yeah, definitely learn patience. I think just learning more about myself emotionally, like outside of basketball. Yeah, I've actually learned so much. So it's hard to kind of to put everything down, but those are probably my top 2.
How much did you just like miss hooping? Like miss playing basketball?
I do, but I definitely needed that break, if I'm being honest, just to like kind of reset. So it's been, I definitely miss it, but much needed break.
It's gonna be there.
Yeah, it'll be there.
It's gonna be there waiting for you. Yeah, that's the best part. All right, JuJu. Last time we had you on, we were actually in France. We were in Cannes a couple years ago, and we did you a little dirty on the start bench cuts. It was kind of like early days. I've really calmed down.
Oh, gosh.
But I really put you on the spot. Yeah. Diana Taurasi, Jewel Lloyd, Chelsea Gray. Ooh, tough.
No.
This is a setup, Sue. What? Okay. Should we skip women's
What do you have
basketball?
against JuJu?
Yeah, we gotta skip women's
How about that?
basketball.
We'll finish with the easy. I was gonna give her the USC greats. But like I said, I've calmed down. So we got some easy ones for you, I promise. This is like a little bit of an LA version.
Okay.
So LA, I guess we'll call it like a cheap meal or just like favorite spot, but food category. Okay. Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, Randy's Donuts, Pink's Hot Dogs.
I'm gonna go Randy's Donuts.
You're starting Randy's?
I'm starting Randy's.
Okay. What about who you benching, who you cutting?
Okay. Benching Roscoe's, Pink's not my vibe.
Okay.
Out.
Yeah.
I've never had Pink's. I've had the other two.
I've never had Pink's either, but
Okay, so I don't have an opinion.
Out.
Megan, have you had Pink's?
I haven't had Pink's. Never even heard of it. I heard of the other two, but
I've heard of it. I just never.
Yeah.
Okay, I knew I should have put some like Mexican on there. Damn. I knew
Yeah,
I should
yeah.
have some
Taco
tacos
truck.
on there.
Fucking taco
Okay.
truck.
All right. We know you're into fashion, like doing your thing. If there's other shopping centers I'm missing, ladies, speak up. But LA shopping centers: The Grove, Westfield, Century City, Beverly Center. Start bench cut.
okay, I'm gonna start Beverly Center.
Okay.
The Grove, I feel like the Grove doesn't really have shopping. It's just good vibes.
Okay.
But I'm gonna bench the Grove. And then I'll probably cut Century City. The
City's
parking's
out.
too
Honestly-
much for me. It's too complicated.
That's a good tidbit.
That'll do it.
That's a
Yeah,
life hack
it's
right
too
there.
much.
Yeah.
That'll
it's
do it.
out. It's out. This was
That's just
I
like-
think I've only been to the Beverly City. I don't even know if I've been to the Grove. So this was all straight from Google.
Yeah.
Thank you, Google.
But I will say on Google, Santa Monica popped up and I was like, no. I was there, like a year or two ago, and I was like, it is.
Too much?
No, it's like just not, it's just taking a turn.
Yeah.
Taking a turn.
Yeah.
Taking a turn. Taking a turn.
Ciao.
All right, that was easy,
Yeah, that
right?
was easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We
Next
really
time you're
did.
on,
The
we'll give you
first
some
the
bangers.
first one
The first one was crazy.
first one was even it sort of unfolded in the moment that like because I obviously knew what they were, but I was like, oh, that's like it's fine. It's not gonna be up that. And then it was like we started to say it, and then I was like, whoa.
Oh, I had
That's
people
really-
come up to me.
That's really
after.
hard.
I had people come up to me after the show like, man, I can't believe you did that to JuJu. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
was it?
It was tough.
I was like, was it that bad? Oh, I guess it was.
Yeah, what was it? It was Cheryl Miller.
Yeah, I did like USC greats. It was like Cheryl
yeah,
Miller,
who
Lisa
was it?
Leslie, Tina Thompson.
Yeah,
probably.
that's
I'd have to go
crazy.
back,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
And
it's insane.
you were like a freshman. You were a freshman. And it was
That's
just like,
honestly, it
insane.
was hard.
damn.
The funny thing was, it was hard because then you got Cynthia Cooper.
Yeah.
Like it was hard even just to get to 3 names.
Yeah.
So I should have known then.
Yeah.
I was setting you up. My bad.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well,
that
JuJu,
was
thank you
tough.
so much. This was great.
Yeah.
It's fun to hear how well you're
Thank you,
doing.
guys.
I know you got like a little bit to go till you're playing probably like full go, but you're right there. You are so close. So we definitely wish you the best of
Thank
luck.
you guys. Thank you guys for having me.
I'm a women's 8
I got you.
for the next gen
I got you.
JuJus.
I need
Great.
some silver
Okay.
linings. I need some silver
Give me some
linings.
silver
I
linings.
got you
Yeah,
guys.
we
Yeah.
need those. Yeah.
Woman's 9.
Thank you
No,
so
thank
much.
you guys.
Fuck it.
Just a touch more, a little bit. Just a touch more.
Yeah. For this week's A Touch More, we have a special little treat for everyone. We are joined by Robin Arzón. She's Peloton's head instructor and VP of fitness programming. She's also an ultra marathoner. Wow. And a New York Times best-selling author. Double wow. Founder of the media company Swagger Society. And she's got a brand new podcast called Project Swagger. So please welcome to the show, Robin.
Robin, thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited for this. Your origin story is honestly, it's almost unbelievable, right? Like you were a corporate lawyer, you were killing it in that, but then you had this moment where you like quit that job. You were like, let me follow my passion. I think it was during kind of right around the London Olympics. You just went out there, sleeping on a friend's couch, shooting some videos. You then like cold emailed Peloton, the founder of Peloton, you pitched yourself. I mean, it's actually incredible, all the belief that you had in yourself. And I just have to know, like, how did that go down and what gave you the courage to do that?
I don't even know. A rational belief. I remember making
Being
before I went to
delusional.
being completely delusional. I still am completely delusional. I'm like, why not me? Like, sure, I could do that. I just think that that's how incredible women operate mostly. But the fact of the matter is that when I quit law and I went to the London Olympic Games watching incredible professional athletes like yourselves do amazing things. And I was blogging about it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to become a traditional journalist. I'm going to write stories. And I started pitching magazines and a few bit, but I realized really quickly that that was a fool's errand because I was not being paid anything close to my New York City rent. And so that was when I started doing social media for Nike Women on the agency side. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm storytelling around female athletes. Like, this is incredible. At the same time, I was also doing marathons and ultra marathons recreationally, but like obsessively. And I started writing my first book, Shut Up and Run. And so I thought, oh, cool. I might have a point of view actually that is underrepresented in the marketplace right now. And that was when I decided to take the second leap, which anytime you make a leap, you take that leap, it's like you're building wings on the way down. And I just had to, I actually had my mom's voice in my head a lot of the time. She's a Cuban refugee. She taught herself English by watching PBS. And their origin stories really influenced mine because I'm like, I have nothing to complain about. Like, I am just steeped in privilege. So like, let me just figure it out. And I also vowed to myself that after I left law, I wouldn't ask my family I was like, I promise you, I will never ask you for anything. You've given me more than enough. And I've made good on that promise. And the Peloton piece came into the story when I was like, there has to be. I remember teaching, so it was a 9 o'clock class at a local cycling studio in Union Square, and I was just like putting in my reps. I was like, I'll take whatever class I can get. I'm just the new kid on the block, like whatever. There were 2 people in the 9 o'clock class in Union Square, and I was like, I'm gonna give these people my all. Like they're gonna get the best workout of their lives. And I remember leaving there thinking, there's gotta be a better way though. There's gotta be something that's
We gotta optimize this a little more.
Can we scale this a smidge?
Yeah.
And then I read about Peloton in a Forbes magazine blurb, and literally the next week I was just guessing emails. I didn't even know the email. I was like info at, hello at, PR at, like I was just making up, and I sent a bunch of emails in one hit.
Wow.
And the next week I went in for an audition and I had a contract.
I
That's
love that so
crazy.
much because like at the core, like it's mission driven. Like you're like, I'm doing this because I believe it. And then also we're like, but what about the money? Like, what are we doing? Why isn't this reaching more people? I feel like we feel this way too. I just want to say that it's like I've totally yeah. I'm like, I will do it in front of 2 people, but 2 million would be better. I think it'd be better for everyone. Okay, so you obviously have so much going on, so accomplished. You said like you think that's just what powerful women do. I think so too. It's like rarely do you find a really accomplished woman. She's just has like one gig. And she's just like hanging out doing one gig. But why a podcast? What's the inspiration for Project Swagger, and like what do you want to get out of it?
Oh, I'm so excited about Project Swagger. So I had always wanted to, I'm still a Peloton VP at fitness programming there. I created a masterclass, which I affectionately call my like superhero toolkit, is where folks can build mindset skills and strategies to really optimize their self-talk and things like that. But there was kind of a limited runway with that engagement. And I thought, okay, I want to keep this conversation going. I want really in 30 minutes or less to be in somebody's ear and have them be able to start their day or get in the car or go on their jog and be connected to that growth mindset. And I was finding and hearing from folks that read my newsletter, actually, which we started 2 years ago, the Swagger Society newsletter, that they wanted to engage in a deeper conversation. So I thought, okay, what's the format? And for me, Project Swagger is that ability to go into the conversation around mindset, around self-talk, around the lifestyle science that I'm obsessed with. Like I will listen to a 4-hour podcast on like one scientific study, but most folks aren't that geeky and don't have time for that. So I was like, what would be my hot take? Well, how could I penetrate the market in a way that is an efficiency play for an audience that I know really wants that information, but isn't going to wade through 3 hours of talk? And I often also found myself curious around what the hosts thought themselves, what they did themselves. It's like, I'm cool to talk about the study, but it's like, what did you do at 6 a.m. today? Like, I want to know. And then I can read the tea leaves and apply it to my own life or not. And so that's what Project Swagger is. It's for the ambitious person who already has a lot going on. Like they move their bodies. They know to drink water, like it's like we're not going to dilute wellness conversations on my podcast, but I am always going to have a call to action to the audience. And in fact, the audience is my co-host. So I have an old school landline phone Q&A situation, and folks can call 1-877-ALL-SWAG. And I answer questions every single week from the listeners, the viewers. So I'm excited to give a little bit of like 90s nostalgia into a modern day, wellness conversation.
I love that. I love that so much. I'm thinking about like in your first episode is talking about self-talk. And I think so much of the like wellness or beauty, all this is just like, all the talk is just like, well, just do this, do all of this. And then like you'll get the results. But like you just still in front of the mirror with you. You have an amazing story about the moment you realized the power of self-talk while you were training for an ultra marathon. Tell us that moment for our listeners so you can hook them in and get them to be your listeners.
All right, so
also.
I was doing, when you're training for an ultra marathon, which is technically anything more than 26.2 miles, which is a marathon distance, I was training for 5 marathons in 5 days across Utah. I was raising money for MS research, and I was basically running across the state of Utah. And when you are doing these ultras, you run back-to-back long runs. So I might run 20 miles on a Saturday, 20 to 30 miles on a Sunday, just to get my body and tissue tolerance up to those endurance requirements. And I remember it was my second day in the back-to-back long run, and I was all the way up by the GWB, like in the heights. I had like $10 in my pocket. Like I couldn't even have gotten home with a cab if I wanted to. Ubers were not really a thing yet. And I just broke down on the side of the highway like, you are a fraud. Like, girl, you are not able to do this. You have made this big proclamation on Instagram. You've got a camera crew coming to Utah. Like, who do you think you are? And I think it was just this really caustic, really nasty voice that all of a sudden was on a loudspeaker. In fact, actually, there was a soccer game next to where I was basically bawling on the side of the road, and there was a loudspeaker, and they were like announcing the match, and I was like, wow, girl, if your voice was on that loudspeaker, you would be mortified. And I have played with that. First of all, that awareness was key. And then since I've kind of played with the mental gymnastics of self-talk, and I think that is, like, sports psychology, I think, is one of the most fascinating things that we can dive into, not necessarily even as athletes, just as humans, but it is as an athlete that was my entry point. And I love holding these conversations for folks to even have that spark of awareness. Like, if your self-talk were in, I'm a mother of 2. If my self-talk were in my daughter's little 5-year-old body, would it be pumping her up or breaking her down? And it's like, then why shouldn't I have that standard for myself? And we're modeling that every day in the small little paper cuts that we give to ourselves. So yeah, that self-talk episode, I really led with that story. And, I give people some takeaways on where to start, what to do, how to own the sentences that we say to ourselves. And so one of the pieces of advice that I give is you should think about owning the second sentence. The first sentence is usually that errant, like, you always do this, that crushing, like, nasty statement. But if you can own the follow-up to that, that's power. And it's going to happen in the belly of the beast of a workout. It's going to happen in the argument with your partner. It's going to happen when you're about to send the email that you're scared. You know what I mean? Like, that's when it's going to come up. But can you own the second sentence and make that powerful?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it is so true when you think about the things you would never say to someone else that you just have no problem replaying to yourself in your mind. It's actually crazy. That was a big breakthrough for me, like talking about this probably like earlier in my career. So we're talking like 10, 15, 20 years ago. You're just like, I would never say that to someone else. And I literally just replayed it. So something that we talk about, I think, like in our careers, with our teammates, in our sports, but also it's becoming, well, not becoming, it has stayed a big conversation in like, not just with athletes, but like the world at large, is like body image, body positivity. So like within your industry, how does that factor into like how you approach self-talk, and like what advice do you give people in this world?
Ooh, gosh. I mean, I think there's so much in the language, and there's so much in the language that is still steeped in entire industries based on women hating themselves so they can buy more stuff.
Yeah.
And I think even something as subtle and charged as slim arms, slim and toned, long and lean. It's like, in isolation, I know that individual is not saying that to make somebody feel bad. But when you root it in diet culture and root it in a lot of the ways that it's made to make women feel small and want to spark them being small, I think it's scary. So I would rather focus on, and this is a perspective that I really pressure tested myself, and having been through 2 postpartum periods, I really had to focus on what my body could do. And I really had to fight against the natural impulse to focus on the tag on the pants, or focus on, whether this outfit fit 6 months ago, or I would be battling my own pictures. Like, I would start to hate my own images, and that again made me feel like some type of way. So it was back to the self-talk. It was back to, am I willing to take my own medicine? And that was really I actually removed scales, and the only weight that mattered was how much I could put back on the barbell. And I had about a year where it was just like, work your way back to strong. And that perspective completely smashed everything.
Yeah, I know something Megan and I talk about all the time is like this idea of marginal gain. Like sometimes it can be so intimidating when you are trying to create like major change in your life in whatever way, to think about like all that you have to do, and you have to do so much today if you don't do all of it today. No, you can get like 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there. I mean, and this is like, we were in like the height of our career saying this to ourselves, but it's a tough lesson to learn. So it's definitely something that I agree with you on. All right, now I'm going to shift a little bit to like the diet aspect of this, because you have a cookbook. So your cookbook, yes, Eat to Hustle,
Eat to
focus
Hustle.
on. Oh, there it is.
Eat to
There it is.
Hustle.
Oh, yeah.
There she is. Right.
Love it.
I know it's like, it focuses on like a vegan diet with like high protein recipes, especially as someone like yourself, ultra marathoner, Peloton instructor. Just talk about like diet in general, what you're trying to accomplish with this cookbook, especially again, like the relationship between a vegan and finding like the ways to get your protein in.
Yeah, I wanted to dispel the myth that you couldn't be a powerful plant-based athlete. I really consider myself a hybrid athlete. I strength train just as much as I do, endurance. And right now I'm kind of in my high rocks era, and which is running and sleds and burpees and all that jazz. And the impetus really behind Eat to Hustle was to provide people an uncomplicated toolkit with protein-packed recipes. Every single recipe in the book has protein, even the desserts, and the majority of the recipes have 20 to 35 grams of protein per serving. And the macros are listed, they're clean ingredients, they're uncomplicated. And this is genuinely how I fuel, how I meal prep, how I feed my family. And it's for the person, not necessarily plant-based. It's just for someone who's willing to look at their energy as currency and fuel that way, and just consider, how am I feeling when I eat this? Do I have a 3 p.m. slump? Just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal. Am I constantly feeling like my digestion is not optimal? And so these are just questions that I want folks to get as curious about how they fuel, and as confident about how as confident in their food choices as they would be in selecting an outfit or a workout.
Oh, I love that so
I love
much.
that.
I think it's like easy to put it and really effective to put it through like, yes, like a fueling lens, and like even like a sport lens, but like everybody's in their body every day needing energy to do a lot of things, both physical, mental, emotional, like God forbid we have to join the revolution because it's wild out there right now. But it's like, we need to be strong. Like, women need to be strong in their bodies. There's lots of people, athletes or not, or otherwise, that are vegan or more plant-based or only eat fish or eat meat or whatever it is. So like giving people the tools to just like be good in your life every day. And then like what you do with that, great. Like do that. But if you're hating on yourself and not feeding yourself and not fueling and not loving yourself, like you're not going to be able to ultimately like have that energy to like be there even for yourself. So I love how this is why you can't just do one thing. Everything
It's
has
true.
something else that's like connected to it.
It's all connected.
Yeah, which is just like so cool. Yeah.
And there's nothing about Eat to Hustle that is like finger waggy or proselytizing. It's like, this is how I fuel. This has worked for me for over 12 years, running thousands and thousands of miles and teaching thousands and thousands of Peloton classes. And it's like, I view it as increase your protein portfolio. Consider how plants actually have protein. Maybe you upgrade comfort foods like, literally, I have a cinnamon roll recipe in here with protein. I've got, waffle fries that have 21 grams of protein that I would eat totally on a game day, and I would not have an ounce of guilt about it. It's about upgrading nostalgic foods. And actually, I have recipes in there like a Crunch Wrap or like a vegan Big Mac that I, have been craving, that I haven't been able to have in over a decade. So I thought, okay, I'm going to make my own recipe for it. And it really is infused with fun, joy, and practicality. I have a sign in my kitchen that says, "This kitchen is for dancing." And like, that's the vibe. And I think y'all appreciate this. There's a dumbbell score next to each recipe. So if there's
Oh,
one
nice.
dumbbell, it's like an easy little recipe. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Love
easy
that.
little lift.
Anybody could do
If
it.
it's
Yeah.
2, 30 to 45 minutes, and if it's 3, you're like you're
We're
rolling
in
your
it.
You're
sleeves up.
shepping it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
love
all I
that.
heard was protein ice cream. I said protein ice
Yeah.
cream. But
We're
Megan,
in.
I tried to make Megan. I went on a kick where I was making all this protein ice cream, and I don't know, man. What'd you think? I feel like you complained that the kitchen got dirty. Is that what
The
happened?
kitchen got really dirty, but the ice cream was really good.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Do you have the
yeah.
Ninja Creamy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
the key.
I know.
Yeah.
We got to get Eat to Hustle now. I need more recipes.
We got to get that. Robin, thank you
I'll
so
send you
much.
a copy for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, please do. Thank you so much for joining us. Check out everybody. Project Swagger comes out every week on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. And also check out Eat to Hustle. It's in bookstores now, both local and online and wherever you get your books. So, Robin, thank you so much. This is amazing. You little gift to the
thank
world.
you.
Thank you. Love chatting with y'all.
Yeah.
Same.
That's it for this episode, everybody.